In this video, we'll cover the Bubble Plot Options tab. If you haven't seen the Bubble Plot tab video, please watch it first. Just a quick review of the Bubble Plot basics. It displays screening results with a bubble for each watershed unit screened. Bubble position reflects its index scores. Ecological score is the vertical axis and stressor is the horizontal. Bubble size varies with the social index score. A secondary set of axes plotted at the 50th percentile of the ecological and stressor scores, or medians. Basic bubble plots can be customized in many ways useful for comparative analysis as well as for developing report and presentation visuals. We'll cover 6 bubble plot options features in this video. The Edit Bubble Sizes section can be used to resize bubbles when many are too large and clustered to see every bubble. You can reset the size to improve the look of the bubble plot and the ability to find specific watersheds. This example bubble plot is very clustered, and some of the larger bubbles completely obscure others. To change bubble sizes, enter a value from 1 to 300 and click the Resize Bubbles button. The default size is 20, so let's try 15. It's now easier to see all the individual bubbles separately and identify them by name when you mouse over each one. To return to the default size, click Reset. The Add Labels section contains controls for labeling one or more bubbles in your plot. Use the first drop-down menu to select whether to label by watershed name or ID. To label individual bubbles, select the name or ID of the watershed from the second drop-down menu. A label will be automatically added. Labels can be edited manually after they are added. Click on the label within the bubble plot and use Excel's font menu to adjust the size and look of the label or drag it to a better location. You can also revise the text. Highlighting labeled bubbles can make them stand out from the plot. To highlight and label a bubble, check Highlight Selected Watershed before selecting from the drop-down menu. If you'd like to label all bubbles in the plot, click the Add All Labels button. Labeling all bubbles is generally not recommended, though, if your screening includes more than 20 watersheds, as the plot can get very crowded. To remove labels from the bubble plot, click the Remove Labels button. The Reposition Plot Axes section provides 3 options for adjusting the position of bubble plot's secondary axes. By default, these axes are positioned at the median or 50th percentile of the ecological index and stressor index scores for your screening. Axes can be repositioned to user-defined percentiles from the drop-down menu. Let's say we want to see watersheds in the best quartile of both the eco and stressor indices. Enter a new stressor index percentile of 25 for the least impacted quartile and a new ecological index percentile of 75. Then click the Reposition Axes button. On the bubble plot, the axes have changed and we can see the top quartile of watersheds are in the upper left quadrant. Mousing over each bubble gives us the name. You can also reposition axes to specific threshold index scores rather than percentiles by selecting the user-defined index scores. To move the axes back to their default median position, go back and click Reset. The next section Edit bubble colors gives us the ability to color bubbles based on the value range of any single index or single numeric indicator, whether it was in your screening or not. This lets you view the value distribution for an indicator of particular interest against the backdrop of overall screening results. This section contains drop-down menus to select your desired indicator, the number of color classes, the method for defining breakpoints, and the color scheme. In this example, we'll change bubble colors to display values of percent cropland in the watershed with 4 colors and equal interval breakpoints. Bubble colors now display 4 value ranges of cropland in each watershed. A legend shows the percentages associated with each color. Similar to label text, you can change the design of the legend text. The Select Screening to Plot section plays an important role in comparing a watershed subset to all watersheds statewide. This option plots relative ecological stressor and social index scores and their median axes 2 different ways, based only on what's in the subset or based on all the watersheds, but only the screened watersheds are shown. Here's the plot based only on the subset. The members seem to vary a lot in stressor score, but how badly impacted are the worst ones? And what about the overall condition of the group as compared to the whole state? Now let's click on the All Watersheds Screening button to display scores that factor in all the other watersheds statewide. The tool now displays the bubbles relative to statewide scores and with the axes set to the statewide medians instead. In this example, the watersheds in the screening had better ecological conditions and lower stressor presence compared to the average for the state, with no extremely stressed watersheds in the whole group. You would not have known that just from looking at the plot of the subset alone. When you're finished customizing a bubble plot, you can save a copy for use in reports or presentations. Bubble plots can be saved as an image file by clicking the Save Bubble Plot button. You will be prompted to enter a file name for the image file. The file will be saved to the same directory as the RPS tool. 2 PDF files storing the contents of the setup sheet and notes sheet are also saved to provide a record of the screening settings.